Hello, and welcome back to Something Starts Ringing Tarot. My name is Ryan, and today I'm going to be doing the hashtag 22 faves, where I find my favorite Major Arcana cards from all of my decks. This was originally made by Steven at Tiff Tarot, but I don't think that channel exists anymore. The first time I saw this hashtag was on Nova Luna Tarot's channel. Nova over there did it, and I really enjoyed their cards. And she did a VR to Kelly at the Truth and Story. She did this tag about 5 years ago now, and I think is becoming the one that people are referencing as far as I can tell. So this is hashtag 22 faves. So for this one, what the idea is that I went through all of my tarot decks and chose my favorite Fool card, my favorite Magician card, my favorite High Priestess card, and so on through the entire Major Arcana. So there's 22 cards that I chose. This was a long process for me. As you can see, I have a few decks behind me. This is my collection behind me, but I went through and I first eliminated any RWS exact redrawings. So like the Rider Tarot deck, the Sawyer Redux edition, things like that, I didn't include because those are just the standard artwork. So I just included anything that was different than those. I didn't include Oracle decks, obviously. So that left me with 11 decks, I believe, that I was going through. So I laid them all out on my table. I ordered all of the Major Arcana and looked at all the Fools, and I kind of did it like a tournament style. So I laid them all out so I could see all 11 Fool cards, and I went through and I looked at them for a little bit and chose 2 or 3, and then after I went through the whole Major Arcana like that, I laid out the 2 or 3 that I had, and I chose my final choice among those favorites. So this was a pretty difficult one to do, but I tried to stick to one card for each Major Arcana. I think I'm actually going to make this a series on my channel. I'm going to go through each of the different suits as well and do this, because it really gave me an opportunity to look through all of the decks in my collection, even the ones that I don't use very often, and kind of appreciate how each card fits into that deck, but also how it kind of works with my collection. So some of these that I chose as my favorites really surprised me. So without further ado, I'm going to show my cards. If you are new here, I would encourage you to subscribe to my channel. I know I just said without further ado, but oh well. I'd encourage you to subscribe to my channel, like this video if you like it, and do your own VR. Comment down below if any of these cards are your favorites, or if you have other favorites that you want me to know about. I love looking at the comments, and I try to respond to everyone that I can. All right, now without further ado, I'm going to show you my 22 faves. Before we get started, again, I keep delaying this. This is the stack of all of the cards, all of the Major Arcana for all of the decks that I went through. So it took a little while. And then I narrowed it down to this many cards. And then I eliminated this pile, and I'm left with my stack of my 22 faves. All right, so let's get into it. So my favorite Fool card of my collection is from the Sasarai Bido Tarot, and it is this card. This is just so exuberant. I love how this old man or old person is dancing in the flowers and just living his best life. Without a care in the world, and that just really gives me Fool energy, and I just really enjoy that one. All right. My favorite Magician card of my collection is from the Lightseers Tarot. I really like the energy of this card, where it has the energy coming from the heavens or the sky down into his arm, and then energy coming out of their arm and into this pool. I also like how each of the 4 elements are symbolized by their elemental symbols in this energy, so that's all kind of mixing together as you would normally see. I just love the colors and the pose and everything about this, so that's my favorite Magician card. Next is the High Priestess, and this is from the Art of Adventure tarot deck. This is just a really fun one. It makes me smile. It's this, presumably a nun, going to like this moon party or some sort of like on a college campus or something, or some community center with all the signs and different things like that, but it still has all the symbolism of the traditional Rider-Waite, like the moons, like the B and the J, the dark and the light pillar, the pomegranate veil, the tarot. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to work on this focus. Okay. So the tarot on the scroll and all that. So that's my favorite High Priestess. Next, the Empress. My favorite Empress card is from the This Might Hurt tarot deck. I really like this one. It's very feminine. It's very sensual. I also like the roots going down into the ground in the hay or the wheat here. It still has all the symbolism of the traditional Rider-Waite, of the waterfall in the back, the greenery, the 12-star crown, and all that. So I just really, really like it. It has all the symbolism, but it's a kind of different pose than you traditionally see, but she still looks comfortable. She still looks provided for. And I really like the Empress there. All right, number 4, the Emperor. This is from the Fifth Spirit Tarot. I really, really like this depiction of the Emperor. Normally this is a kind of difficult card for me. I don't really relate to the Emperor all that much, but this is a really different version. This person is like an engineer or a scientist and is following the rules and following the structure and kind of part of the system of the logical thinking, but it's depicted in a different way than traditional emperors, and I really like that. I also like this having the horns in the white. That's something specific to this deck that it kind of calls back to the original artwork, even though it's a very modern new take on the drawings. All right. Number 5, the Hierophant. My favorite Hierophant card in my collection currently is the Hierophant from the Tarot of Oneness. I really like how welcoming and accepting and beautiful this card is. I really like how it includes the symbols for a lot of different religions around the world, and the cross keys are still there, these welcoming hands are still there, and then this owl is kind of the symbol of like knowledge or gaining wisdom of some sort. So I really like this card. It's less, I guess, stuffy than a traditional like Pope card for the Hierophant. So it's just very welcoming and kind of brings me into the card, which is the intention of this deck. Number 6, the Lovers. My favorite Lovers card is from the Spectro Whirl Tarot 2nd edition. This one I really, really like. It calls back to the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, but it is done in a very psychedelic, rainbow, fun way, as this whole deck is. I really like how the trees are intertwined there in the middle, kind of cascading that water or that rain down between them. I really like how it has the heart up here in the outline, kind of above the angelic version, or at the end, angelic kind of symbolism on this card. I also like how it calls back to the traditional symbology of the snake on this tree with the apple, and the fire on this tree, just like it does by the people in the original Rider-Waite tarot deck. So that's my favorite Lovers card. My favorite Chariot card is from the This Might Hurt tarot deck. I really like this modern take on it, but I still like how it has all of the symbolism from the original. It has the black and the white vehicles that the person is using to travel. It has the square on the person's chest. It has the face and moon on the shoulders. They have the wand. They have the crown. All of that symbolism is still there. It's a very modern take, very energetic take. I like how They're standing on the motorcycles with kind of presumably no control, but that's just what the chariot is. It just like takes you where you're going to go. Excuse me. Number 8, my favorite strength card is this one. This is from the Tarot of Oneness. I really like how this is so striking and so kind of in your face, that maybe you are touching this bear and kind of controlling it, as in the normal strength card, there's the lion that the person is touching or consoling or kind of in control of some sort. I really like how they still have the lemniscate on this card, and it's just such a striking image. This is one of a couple cards in this deck that the other person or the other subject in the card is looking directly back at you, and I really think that speaks to this strength card. All right, next is number 9, the Hermit. This is from the Shadowland Tarot. This one just makes me smile. Obviously, it's a ghost or even a person in a ghost costume, kind of all by themselves, hanging out in the darkness, but illuminated by that typical hermit lantern. I just really like the kind of almost like, oops, you found me kind of vibe of this card. The eyes are big and white, and they're just kind of huddled up underneath this sheet. So that's really speaks to the hermit, kind of being on your own, kind of taking in your own reflection, meditating in your own space. All right, number 10, the Wheel of Fortune. This is from the This Might Hurt Tarot as well. I really like, again, how it calls back to the original Rider-Waite symbology. It has the elemental symbols in all the corners. It has the symbology on the wheel, and it has the characters around it, including this sword that's standing strong upwards. It's very colorful, it's very easy to read, and just has a lot of direct meaning to me. So that's my favorite Wheel of Fortune. My favorite Justice card is from the 5th Spirit Tarot. This is just such a powerful image. This person is walking, presumably out of the House of Law. A decision has been made. They have weighed the heart and the feather, and they have the sword in the white standing straight up. Sorry, I keep messing with the focus. So it has the purple veil or the purple carpet that this person is walking on, and it has the columns in the traditional artwork, but it's done in a very modern, strong, beautiful way. My favorite Hanged Man card, number 12, is from the Star Tarot. I just really think this is a beautiful image. This is called the Hanged One in this deck. It has this blue figure kind of hanging from the lotus. It almost looks like they're spinning. Maybe there's some sort of performer, which I also see in the original Rider Tarot deck. I kind of view it as like a dancer upside down of some sort. I really like the veil, or like the surrounding of stars behind them, and I believe it has the astrological symbols. It's pretty small, right around their head, so that just kind of speaks to like all-knowing or taking a time to reflect on yourself in the context of the universe and the stars. All right, my favorite death card, number 13, is from the 5th Spirit Tarot. This is just such a striking image to me. It's kind of speaks to that generation of rebirth. I really like how it has a couple of traditionally presenting females as the couple on the card. They have the child, the interracial child, or the interracial couple. This deck is just so inclusive, so diverse, and has such a statement in every card, and this kind of speaks to that exactly. I also like on this card how the top of the card has a darker background and it is white on the bottom. If you watched my deep dive, this kind of goes along with the flow of the Major Arcana, that the beginning is all white and then it gets darker as the person kind of, I keep messing up this focus, gets darker as the person kind of like levels up as they go through the Fool's Journey. So this is kind of the middle or transition card of the Major Arcana. This one was the hardest one for me. As you know, if you watch my channel, my favorite card is Temperance out of the whole entire tarot deck. So to pick a favorite was difficult, but I did manage to pick just one, and I chose the Temperance from the Light Seers Tarot. This is just a perfect representation of mixing of the elements, warm and cold of the sun and the moon, the duality between the light and the dark, the angel's wings in the background, kind of sitting on the ground, symbolizing that like heavenly on earth sort of energy. I also like the tattoo on the chest, calls back to the original Rider-Waite symbology. The white shirt kind of calls back to the white gown on the original Rider-Waite. And also on this card, the person is presents as like gender neutral or can be interpreted as different genders. And I really think that's important in a Temperance card, at least for me. So this is my favorite Temperance card, which is a pretty bold statement on this channel. All right, number 15, the Devil card. This one was really hard for me to choose. There's actually a few that I really liked, but I settled on the Devil card from the Tarot of Oneness. This just, again, has a very striking, prominent view. Obviously, that this person is tempting you to come through the fire, kind of reaching out for you and staring at you kind of with that intent of kind of manipulation or come hither vibes. I really like the colors and just the striking image that this gives, and it just digs in that devil energy. Okay, my favorite Tower card, number 16, is from the Fifth Spirit Tarot again. I just really like how this kind of brings the Tower to a more personal level. It shows a pretty common looking homestead, and this person sitting in front of it, kind of just watching their world fall apart very suddenly with the lightning, and there's nothing they can do about it. And they just kind of have to accept it and move on, but they kind of appreciate what, like the foundation that this was built on, but they have to move forward because the tower happened. I also really like how there's this very subtle crown. I don't know if you can even see it. I don't know if I can focus there, but yeah, there we go. There's a very subtle crown laying next to this person, and that kind of calls back to the crown that falls off the tower in the traditional artwork. So this is my favorite Tower card from this Fifth Spirit Tarot. Number 17. Are we already on 17? Yep. All right, number 17, the Star. My favorite Star card is from the Tarot of the Divine Masculine. This is just such a beautiful image and landscape. I really like the sky and the flamingos. This person is kind of feeling themselves, standing up, kind of showing that hope and that promise, and confident in themselves, and kind of just reaching for that star and living their best life out by the water, by the earth, and kind of has hope for the future. And actually from the same deck, the Tarot of the Divine Masculine, the Moon, number 18. This is my favorite moon card of my collection. I really could not pass this one up. This one makes me laugh every time I see it, even though the moon is typically kind of a serious, dark card. Just having this exposed butt on this card just makes me laugh because it's like the mooning gesture on the moon card. It's so primal, it's so fun, it's just kind of beautiful that it makes me smile every time. I really like how it has all the original symbolism, the two towers, the moon, the dog and the wolf, the lobster, the pond of water, all that. But the thing that kind of makes this moon card for me is the bare butt that's shining in the moonlight. I just think that's such a perfect representation, and kind of makes me, it makes me smile, so it makes me like the moon card more than kind of deep diving into those shadows. All right, my favorite sun card, number 19, is from the Art of Adventure tarot deck. This one is just so fun. It makes me smile. The childhood energy, the inspiration of riding on this fake horse, but they are using their whole imagination and are inspired just to have fun, ride it around the yard. It has all the traditional symbolism, like the red flag is kind of denoted in the cape that has the red feather. It obviously has the sun and the sunflowers and the wall, but then it's just such a fun, cool little kid riding and having a blast on his fake little white horse. Excuse me. This was a difficult one for me. There were a lot of different choices for this. It's the Judgment card, number 20, is typically portrayed in a very similar manner on a lot of my decks, but I really liked this one from the Spectral World Tarot 2nd edition. It's just so psychedelic. It has the trumpets calling out the proclamation that is being made. It has the angel wings. It has the kind of water and mountains in the background. I just really like the coloring, the drawing, and the intention of this Judgment card. And last but not least, my favorite world card is this one from the 5th Spirit Tarot. I just really like how this is portrayed. Obviously, it has the traditional symbology with the person in the middle, performing with the 2 wands, the Ouroboros snake, the animals and person in the corners. This one actually has the world on it in the bottom. I also like that it has the Alpha and Omega signs, kind of the beginning and the end, symbolizing that kind of end of a journey, but restarting into something better. Leveling up, enlightenment. I like the rays of light coming from the background in the white. In this deck, that's important. It kind of calls to the traditional artwork of the RWS, but done in a slightly different way. And then this also has the sun and the moon, which kind of calls to that beginning and end of the day and cycling of the day as well. I believe also that these white lines are dividing it into the 12 houses, kind of like on a birth chart. So it kind of shows that birth chart energy of the cycles of life, kind of make up who you are in this astrological study. All right, so that is my 21 faves. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you look forward to my continuation of this series. I plan on doing this with all of the other suits in the deck in the Minor Arcana. So I'm going to be going through the wands, the swords, the cups, and the pentacles, and doing the same thing and trying to narrow down to my favorite, almost like ideal tarot deck. So thanks again for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. Comment down below if you have a favorite card out of any of these, or if a different card is your favorite for a specific Major Arcana. And if you do a VR, I would love to know so that I can watch yours and see which decks you picked or which cards you picked. So until next time, this is what I'm talking about. This is life. You manage to be happy for 5 seconds, and something starts ringing.